All right, we back in here. Eddie Gonzalez is with us. The most anticipated appearance from Eddie Gonzalez in history. So here's what I'm going to do, Eddie. I'm going to shut the hell up. Eddie ain't never tweeted. All right. I'm going on D-Lo and KC tomorrow at 5:15 Eastern Standard Time. And I'm paraphrasing because some of y'all are stupid.
Yeah, I didn't put East. That's my fault. That's
all good.
You're good.
All good.
You're good.
We got you. What's on your mind?
I mean, I just watched a lot of reports, and I think what people got to keep in mind when, especially NBA news, I mean, I think it's everywhere, but like every little tidbit of information that comes out, somebody serves to benefit that in some way. A lot of times you can trace it back to say, oh, the team said this because it makes more sense for the team and this and this. But the Jimmy Butler thing has been so transparent and people are still fighting it. And it's really confusing me because about a month ago, a friend of mine reported that Jimmy wanted out, point blank. The agent came out and said, nope. And that's cool. That's what agents do. They're not supposed to be honorable or whatever. They're here to make money. The team then came out and said, we ain't hear none of that, which is really funny because a week later, after Jimmy didn't do anything with the team for a week, he left the game in Orlando right before Christmas because he was sick. And maybe he was sick. But he didn't go back with the team again for another 7 days. No organizational meetings, no practices, no nothing. I'm out. Then the team said, okay, he wants out. We're trading him, which is really funny to see. So I say all that to say, to my knowledge, Jimmy wants out. He wants to be a Phoenix Sun. For everybody saying it's a really complicated deal to make, it is in a sense because the Suns are a second apron tax team, and that creates its complications. But it's very simple in the sense of Bradley Beal goes out, Jimmy Butler goes to Phoenix, and there are multiple teams who are okay with taking on Bradley Beal in his contract, and there are multiple teams that Bradley Beal will waive his no trade clause for to go to. Some of them have been reported, some of them have been alluded to, but they're all the usual suspects. He may end up a Milwaukee Buck. He may end up a Chicago Bull. He will not end up a Miami Heat. But the point of the reason why I wanted to get on here and say that is there are options to make this trade. And Jimmy has made it clear he's only going to one team. Now, what I do want to talk about a little bit, and I don't want to eat up too much of the airspace about the Phoenix Suns here in
You got plenty of time. We here. NBA Insider at Gonzalez. Stop playing.
What I do want to talk about is this. In another piece of the machination here, you've seen it today, as reported today, that the Bucks are trying to get rid of Pat Connaughton. They need to shed about $7 million to get on the second apron, which then allows them to combine contracts and aggregate players in a deal, because they could be a third team or a Bradley Beal straight ahead trade team, one or the other. Either way, it's not hard to put together that it's Chris Middleton, who just got benched, and Bobby Portis, who's been in trade rumors for 2 years now, that could be going on the way out, could add up to the contract and could make a place for Bradley Beal or Jimmy Butler, who they've inquired about as well. I say all that to say this. The Phoenix Suns are a second apron team, and those penalties are going to start adding up soon. So the Phoenix Suns need to get out of the second apron. Best way to do that is to shed salary, which is Bradley Beal, who's owed $110 million over the next 2 years in massive amount of contract. I saw the Kendrick Perkins report about Jimmy Butler's deal. That sounds all fine and dandy, but that just makes no sense for the Phoenix Suns. What I've heard is his deal would be more of a 3-year type deal, closer to what the money is owed to Bradley Beal, is $110 million. So you're bringing Jimmy back at a $35 million clip, which is great. It's great for Jimmy at this age to get 3 guaranteed years at that amount of money. But you're also looking at Kevin Durant, who was extension eligible before the end of the season. Since he didn't sign the extension, I'm just going to assume he wasn't offered every dollar he could be offered. Same for Jimmy Butler. They've never come out and said we didn't offer Jimmy an extension. But if they offered Jimmy a max extension, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. So the plan going forward is clear. We need Jimmy. We need Kevin. We need them at smaller dollar amounts than they're at now, because we need to get out of this apron. And that's how we go forward. My issue with the Jimmy Butler trade, and this is my last point, I'll get off it at this. A month ago when this all started, you could have saved the Suns season. They were still in contention. They looked like a budding contender, needed a piece. It's an upgrade from Brad. We got some season left to save. A month since, this is the 12th seed. This is under 500 team. This is like, what are we salvaging at this point? We got to do this now. A month from now, when the trade deadline happens, then you got to ask, is it even worth it doing it then? It's not. And then you got to ask, okay, how do the Suns salvage this situation going forward? And so I've seen a couple people mention, I think this is the right idea, and I think this is why the Jimmy Butler offers aren't so great. If you're going to pay for mid-30s all-star forward who you're going to have to give a couple $100 million too soon in the middle of this season, are you going to trade for Jimmy Butler, or are you going to call the Phoenix Suns and ask if we trade for Kevin Durant? So that's why the Memphis Grizzlies don't have Jimmy Butler right now. I guess that's why the Milwaukee Bucks don't have him. And I guess that's why the Golden State Warriors have not put all their chips into actually come out and basically said they're not looking at Jimmy at all, because there's a universe where, yeah, in about 3 weeks, the Suns are 18-30 or whatever it is, and that's their only option. So that's what I wanted to come say on the radio, talk to my guys, D-Lo, KC, and say the Jimmy Butler stuff is real. But what everybody has to wonder about is if they can't get that done soon, because Miami has turned down multiple offers, many different variations of this trade that include Chicago, that include Milwaukee, that include Utah, that include other teams. If they're just not going to do it, and you're another team sitting there waiting, you got to wonder, what does Phoenix look like in 3 weeks when trade deadline comes? So that's my piece. That's what I came to say. There you go.
That's we got a lot more to talk about. you said some stuff. I got some questions. So the last point that you just brought up about teams inquiring for Kevin Durant. Do you feel this is a 2-part question? Is KD open to moving? Number 2, is Matt Ishbia open to moving Kevin Durant? It feels like that's the last piece. It almost feels like he would move Devin Booker before he would move Kevin Durant. Is that accurate at all, or am I reading that one a little wrong? Like, it feels like it doesn't feel like, oh man, we missed out on Jimmy Butler and now it's open for business to go get KD. Like, that seems like something that everybody involved ain't even really interested in.
No, and Kevin talked today about speaking with the owner, Matt Ishbia, and having a good conversation with him. So I'm not saying Kevin's available. What I'm saying is, if you're the Grizzlies, who have all the picks, who have all the options to do this, or if you're the Warriors, who have a trade that makes perfect sense right now, why am I selling the farm when I can let the Suns crash and burn and go say, hey, what are we doing? We can't waste the last 4 years of Kevin Durant, whatever. Now, Matt Ishbia has been adamant for the last 2 years and not trading KD. Kevin has made no inquiries about getting out. I'm saying, if you're a competitor, you have to look and say this. I'm also saying, though, if you're the Suns and there's no salvaging this season, there's no reason to lose for them. Houston has their pick next year. This upcoming draft, a great draft, by the way, which might be a great pick. There's no incentive to lose. There's no incentive to shut Kevin down. Kevin's on his way to 30,000 points this season. There's you should be all in, but if you reach a point of no return in this season, and again, you're the last team that's trying right now to win games. The only teams below you are the Blazers, the Jazz, and the Pelicans, who are actively not trying to win games. You're the worst team in the West right now. You're the worst team in the West at the trade deadline, and you have no picks for 5 years. None. You have nothing but swaps. You have no second-round picks either. Only way to acquire any first-round picks is it's not Yusuf Nurkic trying to get rid of that $20 million salary. It's not Bradley Beal trying to get – you have to pay picks to get rid of these salaries. It's to trade Kevin Durant, because you're not trading Devin Booker. You should not trade your homegrown star who's only 29 years old. So that's what I'm saying. If you're a team on the outside looking in, Jimmy Butler is intriguing, yes. Kevin Durant is way more intriguing. Jimmy makes the most sense for Phoenix. For Memphis, the other team rumored, for the Spurs, a team we've mentioned, it hasn't said much, but if you're the Spurs and you're like, can Kevin Durant be had right now? And we team him with a top 10 guy, and that's what I think you're looking at, the Phoenix Suns. That's why I also think there's a lot of pressure on them to get this deal done.
So a couple of things. Jimmy wants to play for one team, and it's Phoenix, and that's it. And what is Miami turning down deals for? Because
Well,
it doesn't appear that these two are working in conjunction at all, meaning Miami and Jimmy Butler.
right. So what seems to be understood is they're not opposed to sending him where he wants to go, which is Phoenix. It's what they want in return, which nobody is quite sure.
What they want in return from the league, or what they want in return from Phoenix and Phoenix only?
No,
Like,
from
is the
this
price
from the
higher for?
trade that would get Jimmy to Phoenix. So
Okay,
okay,
gotcha.
you guys find us a third. Okay, we found a few third teams. We found some fourth teams. But do you want Colin Sexton and John Collins? Do you want Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis? You know, but then you're looking at the other offers they're getting elsewhere from teams like Memphis, and you're looking at stuff like Marcus Smart and Santi Aldama and some contract Brandon Clark. It's not like that's some great haul either. You know, maybe Zach LaVine is floating out there, but this is one of those things where if Miami wanted Zach LaVine, that deal would have been done a week ago. So clearly they don't want Zach LaVine. If Miami wanted Bobby Portis and Chris Middleton, that deal would have. If they wanted Brad Beal, simplest trade to make possible, that would have been done. So it's not quite clear what they want. If they want a horde of picks, they're not getting that for Jimmy Butler right now. They might not get any because the Suns will probably have to give away their 2031 first with Brad Beal in order to make the trade happen anyway. So it's complicated in that sense, but it's not complicated in that they know what the offers are. They just don't like them. If they like them, Jimmy Butler would be on the Suns right now.
And those things are always interesting because I talked about last week, like if I'm Pat Riley, who I really like Pat Riley. That's my kind of guy right there. I like Pat Riley. But if I'm him, I'm telling Jimmy Butler, like, go out there. You're free to go find you a deal. If you find somebody like Phoenix or something that is willing to pay your extension, then we'll work on something. But like, this is the contract. This is what you're doing. And I dare you to walk away from $50 million if you don't get the trade that you want. I dare you. Go ahead. It ain't going to hurt us if you don't. We're not a championship team no more either. But on Miami's end, where they may be overplaying their hand is, look, I don't know what you guys think you can get in a Jimmy Butler trade, but this ain't 5 years ago. Like, you're going to kind of get what you get and don't throw a fit, as I tell my 2-year-old, right? Like,
Did your 2-year-old promptly punch you in the nose when you say that?
tries to bite me,
right?
Actually.
Okay, yeah, that's figured.
But yeah, like get back into the real world in the 2025. Like, you're not getting this crazy haul for Jimmy Butler. Get what you can and try to work around that. And then you got the Bradley Beal thing. Maybe you can get a couple assets out of that as well. But like, I don't know what they think they're gonna get for Jimmy Butler at this point in his career.
That's the question a lot of people are asking, and clearly the offers they've gotten they don't like enough. Me playing Monday quarterback, I'm looking at the Warriors deal, but apparently that's not available anymore. And that's me as a Jonathan Kuminga fan, as an Andrew Wiggins fan. I know Warriors fans kind of hate both of them on the right day. But that's me looking and saying, okay, I load up on these wings. They're athletic. They can defend. You know, we're looking at Boston. They feel like they're a move away from Boston. They just beat Boston 2 years ago.
I don't mean to interrupt you. I don't want to leave that real quick. They could have got Kuminga for Butler.
Apparently, that's the deal that was out there and made sense early on. But again, the Warriors have pump faked a lot of deals in the last couple of years, which is why their megastar, Hall of Famer, all-timer is going very public saying, yo, what are y'all doing in the last couple of years?
He's essentially
the Warriors kicked the tires, and those are the players that make sense. And I thought, like, yo, that's a little bit of an overextension. That's 2 starter-level forwards, and that makes Miami much better. But clearly they've backed off of that, and Jimmy also made it clear, I want to be in Phoenix. He knows that's where he'll get his extension, the easiest extension he can get. And Phoenix is great, you know, and Matt Ishbia promotes an incredible lifestyle for his players on his team. And that's a city that loves their team. So there's a lot to like there. Plus playing with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. It's clear from the very beginning, despite what the agent said, despite what the team said, everybody said Jimmy wanted out to go to Phoenix. And my thing that I keep saying is, they have to go soon because there might not be much season left to save the closer we get to February.
Yeah, this is there was a lot of layers to this, Eddie, because the Jimmy Butler thing is obviously first and foremost on everyone's mind because it's very, very public and it's very, very out there. But then there's the Kevin Durant thing lingering where it's not necessarily Kevin Durant and the Suns. It's everyone else looking at the Suns like, well, what are you going to do with Kevin Durant? I say all that. How does KD feel about state capitals? Because I have some audio of you and Kevin Durant talking about Sacramento a couple of years ago where it's like, hey, Matt, let me introduce you to Kevin Huerter and Trey Lyles and whatever else you need.
And you don't have no picks. We'll give you a couple of those.
We got you.
We'll give you a couple of those.
We got you.
Look, I can't speak to where Kevin would want to play or not want to play. I'm not even saying he wants to leave Phoenix. Honestly, the conversations I've had with Kevin is he loves Phoenix. He sees himself riding out in the sunset out there and enjoying all of that. You know, Phoenix is where you go to retire, much like Miami is or Florida. But it's cool. It fits him. He likes what they're doing. Obviously, like to win more games. But they're also motivated to do that.
That's where I feel like it would be them coming to him like, hey,
yep,
we're going nowhere. You see,
I will say kind of an informed thought. We got our one Kevin Durant trade demand, I think, for his career. We had that. We seen it. It damaged him. It was tough for him. I don't think we have a world where Kevin is going to ask another GM or owner or whomever, like, yo, I got to go and I got to go here. I don't think we have that world. Nor should we. I think it is a thing where the team will have to look at the landscape and say, look, if we don't do something, not only to get under this apron, to be able to have maneuverability, because again, you start incurring penalties and fines and you start losing draft picks and all these things soon after all that. You also, I think you look further down the line and say, if we have nothing here and we have Devin Booker locked in a Supermax contract right now, he'll turn 30 years old next year. Mm-hmm. We also have to have a team around him. He's an all-NBA player. He's an all-star. He's an Olympian. So yeah, all these moves are not done in a vacuum, which is kind of the bigger point here. If you're getting Jimmy Butler, it's because, you know, you're also saving Kevin Durant and Devin Booker in a sense. And if you don't get Jimmy Butler, then you have to look forward to the next 3-4 years and what you're giving to Devin Booker as he's there and he's locked in. He's your homegrown guy, probably your best homegrown talent you've ever had on this organization. You had to honor that. He's a megastar. He's a megastar in that town as well. So I think it's, you know, it's decisions compounded on top of decisions. But no, we are not in a world where Kevin Durant is going to ask for a trade. I think if anything, Kevin will be a good soldier and play out his deal and do what he has to do out there in Phoenix, like he has been doing, fighting through his ankle injury, taking bumps and bruises. He's still giving you 27 points a game. He still looks like an all-star, all-NBA type guy. So, yes, I think much like the Kings, rubber is hitting the road and they're going to need to make some decisions as well. I think the Suns, if they don't get Jimmy Butler and salvage this, we'll have to look at some decisions making this pretty soon here too.
Real quick, KC, from our brother Chris Haynes. Zion Williamson has been late for multiple practices this season on top of being late for the team's flight to Philadelphia. These incidents led to the 1-game suspension. Again, that's our man, Chris Haynes.
Well, Zion going to be available this summer. That's what I would do if I was in New Orleans. We can get into that another day, but this time in New Orleans is winding down, in my opinion. I want to stay here because this is fascinating. Like Damian said, there's a number of different layers here. The other layer that I don't think people are talking about, or maybe they are, I feel like they're kind of disrespecting it. Kind of like how we talk about with Trae Young. Bradley Beal is still pretty damn good. And if you're Milwaukee, so to speak, you mentioned Milwaukee in there, and you can turn maybe a couple of those guys in the Bradley Beal pairing up with Giannis and Dame to try to make a run, I'd more than intrigued. I'd be happy about that. I know the money is the money, but like I always say all this time, he's not making $110 million every year for the rest of eternity. It's a 2-year deal. Like you'll be fine. You'll be okay. You can get up out of that. Like,
well, the Giannis piece as well is everybody looks around the league for the next disgruntled star ready to leave, and everybody's doing the side eye, but Milwaukee just waiting. And Giannis went from I'm going to be here my whole career and I don't care about other stuff to over the last few summers and off season going, hey, we not compete for titles, then I got to see what's up.
Well, no, he did it slick. He said, man, if I'm not winning, then maybe they'll have to get me out of here. I don't know. I'm not handling business. All right, Giannis, thanks.
One of those really loud secrets that Giannis could be the next guy on the go, and there's a lot of teams loading up with cap space right now who situate that. You hear the Nets all the time. They have all the space, have all the picks, have everything. The Thunder were mentioned, and it's tough for the Thunder because they're guys that they would have to trade now. Like they kind of know what they are now. Jalen Williams is pretty good. Chet Holmgren's pretty good. We have all the picks in the world, but do we want to give up 10 years of Jalen Williams for 3 years of like that's what you're kind of weighing at that point. But I think that's what you're looking at if you're Milwaukee. Like we have to continue to make this team competitive, or the big fella might start looking elsewhere, and we can't have that right now. So that's what you're weighing there too. And salute to Brad, like you said, in a couple games he's come off the bench, he's averaging 20 points a game at 25 last night. He's sat down, he's worked in his role, and you got Yusuf Nurkic getting completely benched last night. They're pros. They're working through that. They see what's going on, and they know what the pressure and the expectation was for that team. And it was not to be the 12th seed in a 10 playoff seed conference. So that's not what they should have been doing at all. Injuries or not. And that's why there's all the panic. And that's why they're the team that's so aggressive to get somebody like Jimmy Butler.
You think this gets done?
I think the clock is ticking, but I do think it gets done. But I think it gets done because of what you guys were saying earlier, in that, you get what you get at that point. You're not getting Karl Anthony Towns. You're not getting one of these great players. And also the league is so restricted by the second apron. Go play with the trade machine a little bit and see who can trade just one player for one player and this, that, and the third. Like, it's really tough to make trades in February now. But I do think it gets done because I think letting him walk for nothing or bringing him back to the team almost hurts you more than just trading him and getting something.
That's what I was about to ask you. Like, does he ever walk in that Heat locker room again?
I heard one rumor. There was some people over there wanting him to come back early. He's on a 7-game suspension right now. The idea is very clearly he's not coming on this road trip with us. They're on a pretty long road trip out west, bouncing around. I heard there was a little bit of convo about bringing him back early, which obviously is not happening. But I think he's a pro. I mean, he set this in motion. We know what he did in Minnesota, but I think, if he has to go play, he's worked out at the facility in the interim. He's, been around the team. It's not that he's just not going to show up, but he's made it pretty clear he wants out. So I think that's also the other ticking clock, is that 7-game suspension ends next week. They come back home. If he's not gone by then, then it gets a little more dicey.
Fascinating.
Really, really fascinating.
Yeah.
I hope y'all didn't get me in trouble, man.
Well, look, don't worry about it. It's okay. We get the whole interview will be up on YouTube soon, guys. You guys
we'll pay the fine. We'll pay the fine. You good? No, that's good stuff, Eddie. We appreciate you. We knew when the tweet went up that we was gonna have ourselves a day today, but that was that was good kid Mad City right there. That was
no, it wasn't.
Yeah, that was oh yeah, you hate Kendrick Lamar.
Wait a minute.
Kendrick hated champions of the
Before
world.
y'all pay the bills, man. The MVP of the NFL is Lamar Jackson, correct?
I think so.
Yeah, but I don't think he's gonna win it.
It's also really, really close.
It is close. I think Josh Allen's gonna win it. Like they want Josh, and he's had an MVP caliber
he's
season.
Deserving. We've seen the All-Pro team came out today, and apparently that's the sure tell sign that it's Lamar. So
Lamar was
the one?
First team All-Pro quarterback.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't see. Yeah, we didn't see
I
that.
didn't see that
Talking Kings.
Sizable gap in the votes. I think it was like 32 to 18 or something, which is big enough.
His statistical season is
crazy.
Absurd.
Oh, it's ridiculous. So
it's absolutely absurd.
But the scary part is he might lose that football game this weekend. So
he ain't losing this weekend. He might lose the next weekend.
I hate to be that guy, but I need to see the big playoff run from Lamar before I put him in that upper echelon. Like all the GOAT level quarterbacks, they had that run. And I used to hate Peyton, but he put a couple of them together, and it's like, all right, got to tip my hat.
It'd be pretty wild if he hit 3 MVPs and didn't hit the conference finals.
3 MVPs, 2 playoffs.
No Super Bowl. Yeah. Man, we appreciate you. This was great stuff, Eddie. Thank you, brother.
Enjoy your weekend, fellas.
Yes, sir.
Take care, boy.
So, man, Eddie Gonzalez right there.